the Tyler, again, I don't even like saying Tyler Robinson's name because it is painfully obvious that he is a patsy. Anybody who sees anything related to politics understands when you're being played for a fool, or at least they're attempting to play you for a fool. So why is this a big deal? Bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk did not match rifle allegedly, because again, words matter, by suspect Tyler Robinson, new court filing claims. Now, of course, I had to pull an article from overseas because we all know that here in the States, they're going to fudge the truth as much as they possibly can. Colin, if you could scroll, please. Colin? There we are. The bullet that killed conservative commentator Charlie Kirk may not match the rifle used by suspected killer PATSY Robinson. Bombshell new court filing states. Robinson, 22, is facing capital murder charges and a potential death sentence for Kirk's murder at Utah Valley University on September 10th of 25. But his defense attorneys now argue that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, or known as the ATF, was unable to identify the bullet recovered at autopsy to the rifle allegedly tied to Mr. Robinson. Remember, they said it was a 30-06 that did the deed. The defense team may now offer the ATF firearm analyst testimony as exculpatory evidence. They said in a motion filed on Friday to push the preliminary hearing back at least 6 months. It also notes that the DNA reports filed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and ATF will take time for the defense team to analyze because reports indicate that several different DNA samples were found on some items of evidence. As these cases indicate, determining the number of contributors to a DNA mixture and determining whether the FBI and the ATF reliably applied, validated, and correct scientific procedures is a complicated process, which requires the assistance of various types of experts, including forensic biologists, geneticists, system engineers, and statisticians, all of whom must review and evaluate several different categories. Robinson's attorneys added they have received about 20,000 electronic audio files, videos, and written documents that prosecutors have presented as evidence in the case. The defense team has devoted and will continue to devote significant resources to processing, discovery, including identifying materials not yet received to inform readiness to the preliminary hearing. However, the defense team is realistic and the comprehensive review required to determine what is missing will take hundreds of hours, aka there are those that believe that this trial might not even really kick into high gear until the end of the year, if not after this year. What is known at present is that Mr. Robinson has not yet received the forensic case files and data necessary to investigate through the use of qualified experts, the scientific reports that state intends to introduce at the preliminary hearing. Defense attorneys and prosecutors had previously met on March 12th. Based on that meeting, the defense said in the motion, it believes prosecutors will introduce discrete buckets of evidence through 3 identified law enforcement witnesses at the preliminary hearing. This includes a conclusory forensic DNA and ballistic reports authored by the FBI and the ATF, social media data, testimony by law enforcement officers about the crime scene and search locations, and testimony by Mr. Robinson's parents and roommate, as well as a significant amount of hearsay from non-testifying peace officers. You mean the evidence that they covered up at the scene? You mean that part? Yeah, we don't forget that shit. Prosecutors have alleged Robinson drove 3 hours from his home to the university campus to kill Kirk. Yeah, I'm just not buying it. He was turned over to authorities by his father, Matt. Again, this is in dispute as well, after he recognized his own dad's rifle in the image released by police amid the manhunt for Kirk's assassin. Tyler's grandfather had given him the rifle as a gift before he used it to kill Kirk. Again, that's what authorities have said. You're assuming, you're making a presumption that isn't true. After that, recognizing the unique gun, Matt texted his son and asked him for a picture, the family heirloom, which the suspect could not provide. In a text exchange between Tyler and his roommate partner, Lance Twiggs, the alleged killer claimed the rifle was the only evidence he left behind. That's again in dispute. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. Again, no one talks like this, especially when it comes to a crime like this. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Sure. Robinson also reportedly wrote about planning to get the weapon from his drop point. Yes, because this is, again, stuff that assassins write in their manifestos through text messages to get caught. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got in my vehicle. Remember, they can make anything seem reasonable, can't they? I'm worried with what my old man will do if I don't bring back Grandpa's rifle. Keep scrolling. The alleged killer then expressed concern that his father would ask to see the gun. Robinson signed off the faithful text exchange by warning his partner, Lance Twiggs, to delete their messages. Nothing's ever deleted. He ultimately allegedly confessed to committing the murder to his father, who then contacted authorities and secured his son before he could be taken into custody. Now, I don't know how much of that anybody believes, but I will say this. If anybody can speak to the bullshit that is this story, it's Candace Owens.
Willfully sit on the defense side and say, this person told me that the feds planted the gun. This person told me that the bomb dogs couldn't find it. How can you sit back and pretend that you are like a friend of Charlie Kirk because you're trying to get a PATSY put into prison? Like, you guys are completely monstrous and pretending that you're on the side of morality. There was an overwhelming amount of evidence that the feds set this kid up as a PATSY. Okay? Everyone in the town, all the local sheriff departments, the SWAT team, they believe that the feds came in and they started lying and they were sending people on wild goose chase and they, said the gun was here and they said it was over there. There was no gun. They didn't want the bomb dogs to go into certain places. Like I said, I am not getting this information from people that do not have the credibility to assert that. That's how I got the pictures inside of the car. Okay, I'm speaking to people with firsthand intimate knowledge, and they all believe that the feds set this up.
One of the unique advantages that somebody like Candace has when you build an audience as big as she has is that you have sleuths on the ground in places that want to help and offer to help because they know that Candace has the type of platform that can make an impact. So when Candace puts out the word to people in Salt Lake City, Ogden, etc., saying, hey, so anything you can do to help, let me know. And whether it's through Discord or whatever sources that is being used, again, she's not hyping herself. She's not going over the top. She's not giving herself a pat on the back. She's saying, look, I'm using my platform to try to solve this case. What she's really doing is proving once and for all of Israel's involvement in this murder. She's offering to help. And I got to tell you guys, you know what this reminds me of in so many ways? This is reminding me more and more of the Seth Rich story. People offered to help Seth Rich's family, but they didn't want help. Said the case was solved. It never was. When you get very close to the powers that be, they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that you do not bring it to light. That's the difference. We don't want the truth to be exposed. We do that, we're in big trouble. The system can collapse on itself, which is why the Seth Rich story had to go away, and which is why the Tyler Robinson story must go away as soon as possible. Candace will explain further.
So how are there people out there saying otherwise? Why wouldn't I testify for the defense? I want to find Charlie's real killer. I don't want to find some random kid that they're singing this on. It's not Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson did not do this alone. I feel the opposite of how Aaron Kirk felt sitting next to Barry Weiss. With everything I have collected, I feel the exact opposite as Charlie Kirk's wife. I feel almost certain that Tyler Robinson did not shoot. I would say I feel 99.9% certain that Tyler Robinson did not shoot Charlie Kirk from a rooftop by himself. How about that? I'm going to say 0.1% because I don't know. You just should never say 100% unless you're, Erica Kirk's lawyers. 100%, we'll get him. We're just going to go on vibes. No, you're going on corruption, not vibes. What she feels 100% confident about, is that there is a bunch of people who will lie for her. She's got a police force behind her. She's got 33 behind her. She's got the White House, Scott Bessent, that'll publish letters saying that they're so upstanding and so moral, right? That's what she feels 100% certain of, is that she's connected to the billionaire class of Epstein-type people who lie about everything. Me?
Let me tell you, she has quite the vendetta against Erica Kirk. And I think part of the reason that she is going after, and she's really honed in on Erica in particular, is because I think she views Erica as being the weak link. And that if anybody's going to break, if anybody is going to fold under pressure, I believe Andrew Colvit's another one, something's going to give. Because there is ample evidence to suggest many times over that Erica Kirk is not who she says she is and never was. So it really makes you wonder, how did she end up in this situation anyway, when Erica Kirk's parents have been proven beyond any doubt that they were part of intelligence? So where does that leave her? How does that leave her in this situation? I don't know. But this is what us sleuths out there choose to do, because we just want the truth. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. We're not greedy. We just want to know what's really going on. And that's a big deal.
I follow the facts, and Tyler Robinson did not do this. He's not a lone gunman on a rooftop, okay? So I challenge you. I challenge any person, like I've done over and over again, if you feel so 100% overwhelmed by the evidence that Tyler Robinson did this, please come sit in this studio and debate me. I need someone to debate on this. It's over. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm having a heart attack. It's so overwhelming. There's so much evidence. There's no evidence. Shut up. Stop saying that. It's the end of Lent, and I just don't, I genuinely want to be calm this week getting out of Lent. You don't have to shut up. I just prefer you say nothing. That's a better way of saying that. Please say nothing.
They can't say nothing because they're guilty as sin. But I will tell you, watching people react to Candace, anyone, again, I don't have that much in common with Candace politically, but I have enough to know that this was a big deal, and that trying to sweep it under the rug, it's just obvious, whether it's because their career demands it, Hasbro demands it. We know who the usual suspects are. Again, I don't have to go through the names. Cat Turd and Gunther Eagleman come to mind, but you understand. And then you have this situation. This is a big, big deal. But this is not the end of it. Candace also pointed out something very important about what was just discovered regarding the supposed 30-06 that did the job to Charlie. And of course, we know that's not the case.
They discontinued this because not even the scientists or the bullet manufacturers would testify that that made any sense. Not even the scientists or the bullet manufacturers. We don't know how you're doing this. You're just saying that you have some special scientific technique that the scientists are saying is not so scientific, and the bullet manufacturers saying, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. And so they just quietly stopped doing that in 2005. But guess what, guys? Cash's boys are going to dust that off, pull it back, because ATF probably said, a little too obvious and corrupt for us. Okay, best we can do. Like, we're the feds, we're the Fed boys, love you, but can we give you an inconclusive?
I tell you, David, I have often, if not always, been inclined to believe, and I believe Jen feels the same way, that it was an exploding microphone or an exploding pager. That's, to me, the most logical explanation. I don't know for certain if that's how he got taken out, but I would say that if I was given a list of choices, that's the one that makes the most sense. If you watch how he actually was taken out, it looked like something exploded in his neck. But do I think that Candace is right in that the FBI is going to try to do everything in their capacity to try to get this case shut as soon as possible? Yes. They want to sweep this under the rug as fast as humanly possible. And if it wasn't for Candace Owens, again, I can't take any credit. We're a small, however mighty, but a small potato channel. We have almost 120,000 subscribers, which again is nothing to seize at. Candace Owens has over 5 million. She has real pull, real influence. And for her to use this influence to make sure that this case doesn't die a Tyler Robinson death, got to tip your hat. And now that a significant piece of evidence has turned against the establishment, they're going to be working overtime to try to get this thing wrapped up as soon as possible.
Can we just say inconclusive? It probably doesn't even match. Inconclusive is the best I can do as your homie. You guys are on your own if you're going to be that corrupt, despite this history of the strategy being corrupt. Because scientists, and you put a lot of people in jail wrongly, and the feds are like, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to put somebody in jail wrongly. So that's what we're doing. We need to bring back the technique that's been discontinued for 20 years. Incredible. Bombshell should be on the cover of every mainstream news, reporting that the FBI is bringing back an already debunked technique so that they can give Erica the evidence she needs to connect this gun, which hasn't even been fired, to Tyler Robinson.
And it doesn't match. That's the point. It doesn't match. And there are those who are going to claim, as has been the message that's been going around by the likes of Little Ben and a few others, that it's inconclusive. That doesn't mean it doesn't match. Are you sure about that? Gun was found on Palantir property. We only know what we know because of the information that we are given. I'll tell you what I know for absolute certainty because I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Thanks to amateur video, we saw the following. We saw Charlie's assassination, followed immediately by the reactions of those in the inner circle of TPUSA, subsequently their relationship and connections to the state of Israel. We saw the cover-up of evidence, including cementing over the entire crime scene. I mean, that to me is just the giveaway right there. That's the giveaway. This is a conspiracy cover-up. And the fact that Tyler Robinson's name has been proven through discovery with our friend James Lee over 5149, that there were Google searches for Tyler Robinson in Israel days before the assassination. To Candace's credit, keep fighting, keep pushing. This is the key to breaking Israel, in my opinion.